I just want you guys to ask yourself for a question. Why is it the people in the establishment that have been so concerned about shit that's going on in Russia and how they were helping their apparent political puppet, Donald Trump, get into office some, 5-6 years ago at this point? They were so instrumental in getting him in there because he was gonna be the puppet. And then when all of the fucking bombs started flying and all the shells started to drop, the guy that they spent all the time trying to get in there is nowhere near the levers of power. Or whenever said puppet was in the White House and he had any questions about the most corrupt, poorest country in all of Europe, they tried to impeach him. It just really does boggle the fucking mind how many brainless, mindless fucks are out here on the internet just continuing to say that, oh, we need to have prayers for Ukraine. It's like, yeah, war sucks and all that shit is fucking terrible, but you know what, how about we get to that negotiation table and figure out an amicable solution to this stuff. What does Russia want, by the way? Because that's something else that's totally missing from all of the different mainstream outlets, and I'm including Fox News as well as CNN and their fucking ilk in this one, because Fox News, if you guys recall, has never seen a war that they don't enjoy, even one that doesn't, at least boots on the ground, concern Americans. But what does Putin want? Well, simple as no nukes, no Nazis, no NATO. We'll get into that NATO claim here in a minute, and the Nazi claim, we've talked about that quite a bit, and there's fringe Nazi groups in Russia, as opposed to the institutional ones that are in Ukraine. Okay, cool. I'm sure if you look hard enough, there's probably some Nazi groups in Canada, the ones that aren't given the fucking swastika flags from Justin Trudeau. But you got all these 500 fucking IQ people who are out here thinking, there's these biolabs that are funded by, we're not going to mention who's funding them, but there's these biolabs that are in Ukraine, and because Russia's commencing on them, they could be taking what they know there and using that as bioweapons and releasing them in a false flag effort, as opposed to Ukrainians who are being overrun at this point, and they're the ones putting out calls for, if you guys want to come over and volunteer and fight, we could definitely use the help. No, it definitely wouldn't be the desperate side of this war. You know what, the ones who just won't recognize that the Donbass region, they don't want to be fucking a part of Ukraine, and Crimea, they wanted to fucking leave Ukraine a long time ago, and Russia's like, we recognize them as being sovereign, and that's when Barack Obama stuck his stupid fucking nose and big ears into this situation and fucked everything up to begin with. But all of that's besides the point. Recognize those two areas as being sovereign, and also just maintain your neutrality on the world stage. We'll be copacetic, and we'll just go ahead and we'll go back home, and we won't have to send in any more troops, because there's something else that's not being discussed in this entire invasion. Oh my god, they're shelling Kiev. Yeah, the capital of Ukraine. Normally, when you're in a conflict with somebody, you go directly to where the leaders are. You don't just start bombing all fucking willy-nilly the different places. No, where are they bombing? The capital and the places they want recognized in their own jurisdiction. Fucking Christ, pull up a map if you're confused. But we all know where maps belong, on walls. But all the saber rattling that's going on at these fucking intelligence committees, which all of a sudden, I guess the past 2 years were just a big fucking wash for people, where you guys had healthy amounts of skepticism for the intelligence communities. Now, if you guys, had a healthy amount of skepticism throughout this entire conflict, I'm obviously not talking about you, but there are some people who just immediately, oh my god, there's war breaking out, and therefore the CIA and FBI says that it's a bad thing, so I believe everything that those letter networks say, because they've never steered us wrong when it comes to war before, right? Weapons of mass destruction. I was too young, well too young for the first, definitely for the first invasion of Iraq. I think maybe I was born, I'm not entirely sure. And then I was 11 when went into Afghanistan and into Iraq for a second time. I was still only 13. I couldn't fully understand the situation, so I didn't really have a take on it. I was mostly just probably muddle fucking through a JRPG or something like that at the time. So this is the first real globally acknowledged conflict that's going on, because if you wanted to really worry about other little fucking nations infighting, you could just take a look at the Middle East, because they just happen on the fucking regular. But because this happens in Europe and there's an evil man just taken out as aggression, and it's a Napoleon complex on the poor helpless people of Ukraine, that this is getting all the attention. Because we heard this come out from the UN a couple of days ago. They admitted, Ukraine doesn't have bioweapons facilities, okay? They have biological research facilities. Where have we heard that rhetoric before? Anyways, but now UK have decided to weigh in with their intelligence experts. Their intelligence experts that couldn't figure out that the Prime Minister was having a little bit of a Christmas party. Meanwhile, the rest of his country was locked down. So, those same people, they're out here telling you that they're concerned Russia will use fabricated chemical weapons and claim in a false flag attack on Ukraine. This is some 9D chess maneuvering right here. UK intelligence experts are concerned that Russia will use fabricated claims regarding chemical weapons in Ukraine to move forward with a false flag operation, even though they've showed no inclination to do any sort of things, okay? If they wanted to. Remember, Russia has 1 million fucking troops. What have they sent over so far? 50,000 troops, and they have gone out of their way. They have gone out of their way to not kill any civilians. All you need to do is just compare and contrast the numbers, the recognized numbers from the UN, to just see the civilian to soldier casualty counts, and just compare and contrast that to just the second invasion into Iraq, and just see how the Russians are shaking up to the Americans, and just find out that at the same point in the same type of invasion, the Americans killed 10 times as many civilians as the Russians have Ukrainians this time around. So if Putin really wanted to just completely overthrow all of Ukraine, he could glass it in an instant, but he's not. So why all of a sudden would he break every fucking accord that's out there? Something that the Ukrainian side has done, and Putin has called them on it. But to use chemical weapons in Ukrainian facilities, it just doesn't make sense. But the UK Ministry of Defense said in a March 14th report that Russian accusations that Ukraine intends to use chemical and biological weapons continue, but officials noted that they have seen no evidence to support these accusations. So we're going to go 1,000 IQ on you guys and say that Russians are going to fabricate that attack because they said that Ukrainians could attack. So there you go. If there's any chemicals that get used, it's clearly the Russians. Yeah, believe us. Russia could possibly be planning to use chemical or biological weapons in a false flag operation, such as an operation that could take the form of a faked attack, a staged discovery of agents or munitions, or fabricated evidence of alleged Ukrainian planning to use such weapons. Oh my God, officials said, adding that such a false flag attack would almost certainly be accompanied by extensive disinformation to complicate attribution. See, obviously, okay, if there's anything that gets released, it doesn't matter what the Russians say, because we already see through your guys' scheme, okay? Obviously, fuck off. We're one step ahead of you, Putin. You're always going to be the bad guy, right? Sure thing. And it's not like there hasn't been a whole host of misinformation or disinformation that's been debunked by the experts. Praise for world changer journalist killed in Ukraine, in Ukrainian-controlled areas. But I'm sure the Russians had something to do with it. Oh, if they weren't attacking those stupid fucking ill-equipped and ill-trained Ukrainian soldiers, couldn't have possibly ever shot at this not practicing journalist, by the way. Yeah, funny thing about this. A U.S. journalist shot and killed in Kiev on March 13th has been described as someone who cared about people and social justice. I don't think the world lost anybody important. Brent Renault, of 50, was shot with another American photojournalist, Juan Arenando, 45, while traveling by car at the Irpin checkpoint near Kiev. Okay, Renault, who graduated from Southern Methodist University located in Dallas, Texas, was hit in the neck and killed in a Ukrainian-controlled area at a Ukrainian checkpoint. Okay. God, the reporting on this story has changed wildly during this time. But anyways, I haven't even got to the good stuff yet. Brent's level of commitment was profound, said SMU professor who he hasn't seen in he's 50 and he went to SMU, 30 years ago at this point? I'm sure Bruce Levi remembers him, just one of his star pupils, right? Somebody who had a long and industrious career in journalism. Renault graduated from SMU in 1994, 28 years ago. With a major in English literature and a minor in sociology. Produced programs for HBO, Discovery, PBS, Vice News, winning a Peabody Award for Last Chance High. And, I've actually heard of that. An HBO series focused at-risk youths at Chicago's West Side. Cool, but I thought he was a journalist, though, and not a film producer. Yeah, he used to work at the New York Times, and last time he was an active journalist was in 2015, and he's been a filmmaker ever since. So to call this guy a journalist is just a touch disingenuous, by the way. So again, oh my God, there's also a Fox News journalist who was seriously injured, and another one was killed as well. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm supposed to care about journalists dying? Oh, okay. Don't you dare speak ill. Don't you dare speak ill, because you could end up getting a strike for misinformation. But don't worry about it, because Meta on all the Meta platforms that are out there, Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp, all of those, they're banned in Russia because, Meta defends policy on calls for violence against Russia after country blocks Instagram. Yeah, that's another thing too. Okay, this was late last week, but because we're doing a big roundup on this shit, might as well talk about it now. Facebook owner Meta defined a change in its content policy after Russia mounted a criminal case and blocked Instagram in response to the move. Meta on March 10th announced a temporary change to its content policy that would allow users to express their views, this is one way to put it, against Russia's attack on Ukraine, allowing posts such as "death to Russian invaders." Yes, you are allowed to, I guess this is state-sponsored, or at least big tech-sponsored hate crimes that are allowed to go on because Russia bad, the Meta statement reads, as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we have temporarily made allowances for forms of political expression. Okay, that would normally violate our rules, like violent speech, such as death to Russian invaders. We will still allow credible calls for violence against Russian civilians. Oh, we still won't allow. Oh, okay, cool. For now, until we decide to change that, but you can call for death to Russian invaders, death to Putin if you want, because hashtag prayers for Ukraine, right? Starting to see the narrative that's developing here, but it's not just Meta, it's not just Instagram, Facebook, whatever the fuck else programs that are out there. It's also Google, our good friends over at Google, which, by the way, yes, you're seeing this on YouTube, unless I somehow managed to get a strike between recording, because I finally got a response 20 hours after I put up my post on my community wall, which some of you guys you must have seen because I seen some likes on it. Thanks, I wasn't anticipating that. I just have no way to reach out to YouTube, because after you receive a strike, this is some inside baseball stuff. You receive a strike, you get an email notification saying you've committed a felony against YouTube, or whatever the fuck they say. Oh yeah, one of your videos were talking about things we don't like. And it's like, well, I still maintain my Wisconsin election audit video was totally on the up and up. I made my normal disclaimers that, guess what, any sort of audit findings at this point wouldn't put Orange Man into the White House regardless. We gotta wait a few years for that, okay? The only point that these audits are good for right now is to figuring out any loopholes and any sort of discrepancies and any sort of errors that might have occurred during previous elections. Figure those out, close up those holes, hopefully we get better elections into the future. And I still maintain that, because that's the fucking truth. But apparently saying shit like that violates YouTube's content policy. Oh my God. Because as you can see, I'll pull it up. We got the good old misinformation. That's what I violated. It used to say election misinformation or 2020 election misinformation. Whatever it was. I've got like 10 fucking strikes and I just whatever. And if you guys notice, and if you guys normally just watch on YouTube, if you ever see that I go a day without posting, just hop over to Rumble. I will goddamn well guarantee you, until I just decide to fucking up and leave, there will always be 3 videos uploaded every fucking day. Maybe that's a little bit of the tism popping through, but I'm not giving up until there's no fucking space left to post out there on the internet. and I don't do Twitter, and I don't do Facebook and all that kind of fucking nonsense. So this is my creative outlet, and this is the best way that I can disseminate information, and hopefully people can understand that there's truth out there. Some people are telling it. They just don't like to push some fucking viewers because, or some views, sorry, because it's really weird. Over on Rumble, every single fucking day, the follower count continues to go up. It's weird because if you just stick exclusively on YouTube, you probably notice the number hasn't really changed from around 850 for a long fucking time. Mostly because it just kind of fluctuates, and then on the back end, it looks a little bit different than it does on the front end. And again, all of this shit you guys don't really care about, so I'll just cut it short. But YouTube changed their election misinformation policy to now it's just misinformation. So what did they do that for? I'm theorizing, and I said this in one of the Rumble videos that's out there, which I don't think I'm going to post on YouTube. Not because there's anything objectionable, not because that there's anything that I would not normally say on YouTube over there. It would just be a flood of content onto YouTube, and I don't want to clog up anybody's subscription feeds or anything, but if you guys want it, it's over on Rumble, and if you guys want me to upload it, I could probably work something out next week and just kind of stagger the release. I don't really know. Not much of it is time sensitive, but if it's old news, it's old news, and nobody's going to give a fuck about it. But if you're interested in that shit, as always, if you ever see a disappearance from me, just seemingly out of the blue, because whenever you do get one of these strikes, which are going to be applied to any sort of, because it's just as vague as misinformation right now, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for if there is an escalation from the West when it comes to responding to what's going on between Ukraine and Russia. I'm just thinking that it's clearly 100% going to be one of those things where we're just going to go ahead and apply this to whatever conflicts that we don't like. And whenever you're not towing the party line, we'll just hit you with a misinformation strike. So that's going to be on the channel until June 5th. Again, I don't really know. And that's why I was just kind of up in the air yesterday about, I'm not too sure if this shit's going to be going up here today or tomorrow, because they just have a little ticker there on the side that says you have one more day left. And it's like, okay, when's the timer up? And it's like, okay, so I got struck local time 5 minutes to 3 March 7th, and then I got my response at like 8 days later, just about to the fucking minute. It was hilarious. Fucking hilarious, because YouTube's a fucking useless wasteland, but it's going to be up there until, June 5th. So if I manage to go dark, it'll be for 2 weeks. So just a heads up on the people if you care on that one. But let's see what YouTube's doing for Russia, because remember, Putin's bad. So what do we need to do? Punish the Russian people because they support Putin overwhelmingly. Except for if they're young millennials that just grow up on the internet. It's really weird. You look at the support that's out there, and Putin, during this entire invasion right now, his support continues to grow. Okay, and it's not like it was low to begin with. That's Zelensky's numbers. That dude was around 20-30% when it comes to approval rating. No, Putin has like a 50-60% approval rating, and he has the entire time he's been in power. That's why this whole idea that we're going to get rid of the big bad evil dictator, the overwhelming narrative in the West, it just has zero fucking basis in Russia, because they like the guy, because he staves off communism. What's the number 2 popular party in Russia? What is Putin's biggest opposition right now? Drum roll, please. The Communist Party. Oh, but he was a KGB officer. He was a KGB lawyer, you fucking retards. If you're ever wondering why it's taken so many people to come online to the idea that, maybe this conflict is a little bit more nuanced than it first appears, because everybody's just kind of lining up on one side. Like, literally everybody. Nobody else has a nuanced take on this. It's because years and years and years and years and years and years and decades of propaganda, when it comes to the Russians and the Russian people themselves, it's finally all gestated, and then you just need to take a step back and realize that, maybe there's something else really going on here. But again, this is another one of those big tech sanctions, which are just kind of, given a wink and a nudge from the government, acting like state actors, okay? Because there's nothing to be gained by YouTube doing this, blocking Russian-funded channels worldwide. Interesting. So I guess RT is just completely dead on YouTube. It's still up on Rumble and Odyssey and all the different platforms as well, but Odyssey, whoever's running the Odyssey Twitter account probably should stop, because they just keep taking these weird pot shots over at Rumble, which make no fucking sense. And I have accounts on both platforms, okay? I like both platforms, but stop being fucking weird, dude. And also, stop paying stupid fat-headed Ethan Ralph and his stupid-ass kill stream. Fucking stupid internet blood sports ruined entire communities for half a decade, paying him $30,000 a year for, what, 200 active viewers on any stream? A good fucking investment, stupid. But instead of just thrashing around and trying to be a BitChute's cousin, how about you just, find your own footing and, try to foster this alt-tech scene? That would be great, because YouTube is drastic. It's been a joke for a while, but it's so obviously becoming them tube. It's only a matter of time before it just becomes fully 100% the replacement for network television. It sucks because it's integrated everywhere, and literally I can look at my different fucking devices that are right in front of me, and just about everything that has an internet connection has the YouTube app on it, and it's perfect, and it's wonderful, and it's fully integrated. That's what Rumble needs to work on, but also that's another discussion we can have for another video, the parallel economy that needs to be happening, because unfortunately we got to kind of return to that, where we're just gonna have to have two separate fucking things for literally everything, because one side just keeps kicking people off left, right, and center, and the other one just needs to gatekeep those weirdos out. So hey, guess what? That shit doesn't fucking happen again. So you don't have YouTube, which started out as just being the free speech area for everybody. You could put up the craziest fucking shit imaginable, and now you need to have party line talking points. You cannot deviate from anything. You have to keep everything as squeaky clean. You need to have that fake enthusiasm. You need to tell people that you need to smash that like button, and you need to hit that subscribe. Make sure that you turn on that bell so you receive all that notifications, because it really helps the channel, and all that fucking fake nonsense. God, makes me physically ill. But if you want a world like that that's completely sanitized of any sort of unsavory conduct, be my guest. I'm just not going to partake on that. But yeah, that's what YouTube's doing, I guess, in a roundabout way. Not realizing that, yeah, okay, so everybody is against Russia, right? But this is having real world fucking consequences. Biden's trying to tell you, oh, gas prices and inflation is so Putin's problem. Okay, cool. But how about once the crops start to get planted? Okay, once this nonsense eventually fucking blows over and a resolution happens, because it's going to be happening sooner or later. One side can't maintain this as long as the other side, you know, the one that's completely and utterly self-sufficient, and the sanctions against the people really aren't going to fucking play out as you think, because Russia, by the way, the side that's getting sanctioned, if you couldn't follow that along, fuels all of Europe. They're going to be fine when it comes to oil and gas exports. And then again, oh, well, we're just going to cut them off from all the food, and guess what? You guys are actually completely self-sufficient when it comes to food. So your food prices aren't going to be going up, your energy prices aren't going to be going up, and okay, all those sanctions against you guys is really just going to backfire on our people. But if we keep telling them, the low information people that are out there that are just the most vocal on these topics, that it's Putin's problem, they'll believe it until you start to try to rationalize this out 6, 7, 8 months later, when you realize that food prices and, you know what, everything else that doesn't come from Russia, like we could have had wheat on here as well, but we have fertilizer, because a lot of fertilizer, guess what, comes from Russia. Because it's a big place, and there's a lot of fucking farmland, and it's not as densely populated as many other large countries in the world, so they have plenty of acres to do whatever kind of farming and any sort of farm-adjacent activities that they want. So they're one of the biggest exporters when it comes to wheat, like I said before, which is going to have grave impact on the world economy as well, and fertilizer, which is kind of necessary for every other country, every other developed country in the world to grow their products as well. So that's going to play out, not right now, but it's going to be playing out very, very shortly, when you realize that those crops come fall aren't going to be as plentiful as you thought they were going to be. And what do they say here in the headline? This video is getting long in the tooth, so we're going to try to speed it up a little bit. A lot of tangents in this one right here, but that's always what happens. Ukraine war triggers global food crisis. Why is that? Because every fucking world leader decides that we're going to sanction everybody. But also notice who's not sanctioning Russia. Okay, Central America, most Southern American countries, Africa. So, possible rise in chronically hungry people. Huh, okay. Except for in those countries that are aligned with Russia, okay? Those countries that are aligned with China. Those countries that just realize that this is a regional conflict. And maybe they should just fucking figure it out. And maybe this whole globalization thing... it's kind of fallen fucking face down. That's what the globalists are unfortunately fucking figuring out. Meanwhile, though, Zelensky, instead of, getting to the peace talk tables, trying to figure this shit out, he's going to go on his promotional tour. He's been making a lot of appearances lately, making a lot of phone calls, especially one to stupid fucking Josh Hawley. What the hell happened to that dude? Oh, right. He just over there in the corner, just fucking burning down his political future. What a moron. But no, Ukrainian president to virtually address United States Congress. Oh, he's going to be the second coming of Winston Churchill. We'll fight them in the air and in the land and in the seas. Huh. He has such good delivery. Well, he's a fucking actor, you mongoloids. What do you think this is? This isn't a typo, by the way. Zelensky offers Russian forces a chance to surrender. The side that's currently kicking your ass? Hey, guys, guess what? We know you don't want to come any further in here. So if you just want to surrender, that'd be fine. That's gay. There's plenty of video out there of, the captured Russian soldier crying because he received text message from mother. And, he just feels so sad. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Those are real and legitimate, obviously. But I've alluded to this quite a bit, okay? What is the West wanting? They just want to overthrow Putin. But the people on the ground in Russia like Putin. That's the problem. So really, how's this playing out? Now that we've kind of seen the battle lines be drawn, on one side, you have all of the establishment power. And on the other, you have skeptical people and you have the Russian people. I don't really know who's pro-war out there, who wants to push on the war. Well, it's the neocons and the neolibs because they want to, a nation build and push their whole globalist agenda. But that's what we've got. We've got the globalists and we've got the nationalists, okay? And not some battalions for the Ukrainians, National Socialists or anything like that. They're well photographed. We don't have to make allusions to that. But you have the pro-NATO side, which... They're starting to realize, at least the Ukrainian side is we're not going to get membership to NATO, and we're just going to have to realize that. Maybe you should head back to the peace talk tables and figure out, maybe we'll just go ahead and secede the Donbass region because there's a lot of ethnic Russians that are there that just want to be a part of Russia, and they're just tired of my fucking constant globalist nagging and the rampant corruption in the government. That's totally fine. In Crimea, the same thing, and I know you guys have been fighting for that for 8 fucking years, so finally we'll give up on that. And maybe we'll disband the Azov battalion and the different affiliated Nazi groups that are down there. And you know what, we'll probably just work on getting rid of the nukes that are here. Maybe your demands aren't quite as unreasonable as MSNBC, Fox News, and CNN are pushing. Maybe if we just, maybe cooler heads will prevail. You can continue, Zelensky, you can continue to make your nice little photo ops that are out there, and you can go ahead and continue to reign over your just fucking disheveled country, which, I have quite a few first and second generation family members from that country, but they left for a very good reason, because it's a shitty fucking country run by corrupt individuals that are always out for them. They're always out for their own pocketbook and not for the Ukrainian people. It's fucking sad, it's fucking sick, but at least some people are starting to get hip to this situation because, I don't want any props for this, but I was calling this from day one, but I'm just glad more people are starting to wake up to this situation because it's as corrupt as a motherfucker. It always will be, and it's going to continue to be that way. If I'm to put money on anything, I'm just going to say that the Russians are probably going to wear this better, and they're probably going to outlast the sanctions a lot longer than the side imposing them needs the Russian exports. So journalists, feel free to write your fucking smear pieces when it comes to Putin and, oh, his economy is shaking. Yeah, guess what? All of that debt, the supposed debt that you keep alluding to, guess what gets paid back in? Fucking rubles. Oops, sucks to suck now, doesn't it? But anyways, with all of that said, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about this before the week's over again, because as always, it's just an ever-evolving situation, so this is just some of what's going on, and yeah, with it all said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.